Have you ever heard of something that's both a brilliant ancient tradition and a really serious modern threat? Well, that's the paradox we're going to dive into. It's a farming practice that has shaped landscapes and lives for centuries, but now it's at a critical crossroads. Take a look at this. This is Jhum cultivation in northeast India. For generations, this is how indigenous communities have grown food on these steep, forested hillsides, places where your typical farm just wouldn't work. It's a pretty ingenious system, born from a deep understanding of the local environment. So what exactly is Jhum? At its heart, it's a type of slash and burn agriculture. A community will clear a plot of forest, let the vegetation dry, and then burn it. That fire puts a ton of nutrients from the ash back into the soil. They farm it for a few seasons, and then, and this is the most important part, they move on, letting the forest grow back completely. And this isn't random at all. It's a highly structured cycle, a kind of dance with the seasons. It starts in January when the forest is cut. It all dries out through February. By March or April, it's time for the burn. Then, right as the monsoon rains are about to start in May, they sow this amazing variety of seeds. Paddy, cotton, maize, pumpkin, all right into that ash-rich soil. This whole interplay of fire and seed, that's the foundation of Jhum. It's what has kept communities going for thousands of years. But the story of Jhum isn't just about what happens on one little farm plot. It's about the entire forest, the whole ecosystem it's a part of. So let's zoom out. Let's look at the huge forest ecosystem of Northeast India, because hidden in these woods is an economic reality that honestly is almost completely overlooked. First off, just to get a sense of scale, get this, 25%. A full quarter of India's entire forest cover is right here in the Northeast. These aren't just trees. They're the absolute foundation of the region's economy and its entire way of life. A massive part of that economy comes from what experts call non-timber forest products, or NTFPs. Just think of it as everything you get from the forest besides big logs for lumber. You know, things like bamboo, medicinal herbs, fruits, and the really big one, fuel wood for cooking and heating. This slide really tells a surprising story. When you look at these estimates from 2004-2005, industrial wood, the stuff most of us think of as the main product, is only about 3% of the total value. The real economic engine here is fuel wood. Look at that, a staggering 91.6%. This is that unseen economy that powers daily life. And we're not talking about a handful of people here. We're talking about 32 million people whose lives and livelihoods are tied directly or indirectly to these forests. So you can see why getting this balance right is so incredibly important. But what happens when that balance is lost? This brings us to the heart of the conflict, the central paradox, the moment when the sustainable ancient cycle starts to break down. Okay, the absolute key to making Jhum work is the fallow period, the recovery time. Traditionally, a plot of land would be left alone for 10, maybe even 20 years, giving the forest plenty of time to regrow. But today, that period has been squeezed down to just 2 or 3 years. What used to be a sustainable rhythm has turned into destructive pressure. So why the change? Well, it's really a perfect storm of modern pressures. The population is growing, so people need more food from less available land. And at the same time, land is being lost to development, new settlements, and other big projects. It's squeezing the Jhum cycle into a time frame that's just not sustainable. And when you push any ecosystem past its breaking point, the consequences are, well, severe. Without enough time to recover, the topsoil washes away, deforestation speeds up, and wildlife loses its home. The very system designed to work with nature starts to work against it. So, what's the solution here? It might not be some new technology. In fact, the answer might lie in an even older form of wisdom. Let's look at a different way of thinking about the environment, one that has existed right alongside Jhum for centuries and might just hold the clues to fixing this. This brings us to this amazing concept of traditional indigenous knowledge, or TIC. This is not just a bunch of farming tips. As this quote says, it's a holistic worldview. It's a way of seeing how everything is connected, the culture, the nature, and human survival. And one of the most powerful examples of TIC in action in this part of the world is the tradition of sacred groves. These are literally patches of forest that are preserved, completely protected from any human use, not because of a government law, but for deeply held religious and cultural reasons. And this is not just some symbolic gesture. In the state of Meghalaya alone, there are 125 recognized sacred groves, and they range in size from a tiny little patch of land to a massive 900-hectare forest. These are real, functioning conservation areas. And this is what's so brilliant. It shows the power of cultural belief as a conservation tool. The groves are believed to be the home of a protective goddess, so the rules are absolute. You don't cut trees, you don't hunt, you don't even pluck a single twig. This spiritual reverence creates one of the most effective forms of protection you could possibly imagine. But just like the Jhum cycle, this ancient wisdom is now facing its own set of modern challenges, and it raises some really critical questions about the future of these incredible traditions. The threats are coming from all over. You've got cultural assimilation, globalization drawing younger generations away from the old ways. These practices often have no formal legal protection. There's even the threat of biopiracy, where outside interests try to exploit this knowledge without permission. And maybe most critically, as the elders pass on, their deep well of knowledge is at risk of being lost forever. Which leaves us with a final, really powerful question. As we search for modern solutions to our environmental problems, as the Jhum cycle is pushed to its breaking point, have we maybe overlooked our most valuable resource? Is it possible that the key is our oldest wisdom? Perhaps the future of sustainability isn't about abandoning tradition, but about rediscovering the balance it once held so perfectly.